Tire pressure management is no laughing matter, and making sure that your tires are at the right pressure and the right temperature is a big deal. It's probably the single biggest thing you can do in RVing to protect yourself, protect your family, and protect your investment. This is the new TST 770 series. We've been selling the 500 series for quite a while. And the reason why the 770 wasn't on our store yet is because we weren't done testing it. It's a big deal when it's your safety on the line. They've improved the screen. That magnet mount's pretty cool. And they've done a bunch to upgrade the system. And what's best with TST is if you have a legacy TST system and some of those sensors, you can keep those and just get the screen. Lots of options for you. That's what we love about these guys at Truck Systems Technology. All right, come along with us. I'll tell you all about it. I'm going to go ahead and put chapter links below in this video on kind of pertinent areas of the video that may be interesting to you so you can hop around. But before you go and hop around, I really would love it if you would like and subscribe this video. It helps our channels and it helps us get all of this great information out to you about what we're covering today. Hey folks, Erik with MobileMustHave.com, and thanks for joining us. And we've sold quite a few TST systems over the years, and there's a lot of companies out there that sell tire pressure monitoring systems. It's one of those interesting industries that manufactures most of their stuff in China because they have to keep their costs down. And as such, a lot of patents from a lot of companies kind of went elsewhere, and a bunch of kind of knockoff name manufacturers started coming out with lower cost variants on Amazon and other places. And that's okay. A lot of them work. We see a lot of big box stores and a lot of folks sell them, but it's not something that I'm going to use in my rig or my vehicle. I need quality control, and I need something that's going to be used by commercial applications and inside commercial vehicles in order for me to trust it, because commercial operators don't have time for the BS. They don't have time for stuff to just not work. Now for me, I've been operating a TST 500 series since 2015. It was one of the first things that I got. Well, it was a little bit after 2015, but it was one of the first things that I got before I even was selling them on the road. And the tire pressure systems that were out there, I tried a few of them, and one of the biggest and scariest things about them was that, especially the ones that are like app-based on your phone, and there are some that are okay, but some of the big names out there, the apps would crash or they would stop alerting, and there was no way to know that you suddenly weren't protected. When I tested a bunch of those, we had multiple times where we went and attempted to do a test where we would simulate a sudden loss of pressure on a tire after a phone had been connected for hours, and we got no alerts. And it was like, okay, yeah, we're definitely not selling that product. Before we get into a ton of that, I want to kind of tell you sort of the basics. Off the bat, how everything works is you get these little sensors, and these are cap sensors. They've been making them for quite a while, and not all cap sensors are created equal, just note that. But there's a couple different variants of how you can get your sensors and how many sensors come in a kit. But we'll talk kind of about how sensors work. So you've got cap sensors. These are going to work on rubber valve stems. And you've got pass-through sensors. These are going to work on metal valve stems. You can use these on metal as well, the caps. So these will just work on pretty much everything. But if you want to go with pass-through, you're going to need metal valve stems because they're heavier, because they've got more going on, because you can now fill up air without removing the sensor. So that's just something to note for kind of the differences in various sensors. The pass-throughs are cool, but removing the caps is super easy as well. Just make sure you don't over tighten them. Basically, as soon as you get to feeling any resistance, give it a little quarter turn after that. That's it, that's all you need. You don't want to over tighten them or else you'll crush the seals in them, and then you've got to replace the O-rings, which they do sell service kits for, but it's a pain in the butt, so just don't over tighten them. Or you can go with this. This is on my boat. These are submersible sensors. And these are basically, they have a lifetime battery, meaning you got to toss the sensors when you're done, but they're fully submersible. So if you're back in a trailer into like heavy, harsh salt water, that's one that you may want to look at. Now, I've taken the cap sensors and I've submerged these as well, and I haven't had any problems. So just something to be thinking about. But these have user replaceable batteries, as do the pass-through ones, and the fully sealed ones don't. So it depends on what's going on in the environment, and it's obviously going to be worse if it's a lot of salt, where you don't necessarily want to be taking the sensors on and off a lot because it could corrode the rubber and whatnot. Additionally, I don't have them here because our team ran out of sensors and they asked me to ship my spares, but there are internal band sensors that can go inside, so you don't need any sensors on the outside. That's an interesting way to do it. It's fine. I've done it on my travel trailer, and it works very well, and the batteries last quite a bit longer on the internal sensors, but you do have to take the tires off. So if you're looking at potentially changing your tires anyway, that would be a great time to look at doing TPMS, because you're going to have the tires off anyway. Then you can put the bands in and you won't have to deal with any of the sensors. So at the basic level, what's going on here? So you've got this receiver, and this screen is going to pick up the connectivity from these sensors, and there's also an optional repeater that's included in every kit that will also amplify the signal between the screen and the vehicle. So how does my setup work? Well, I have this at the back of my Class A, right by my chassis batteries, my repeater, and then I've got this on my towed vehicle, my tow, and I've got it on all of the main wheels, the standard wheels, and then, so that's, got 8 wheels plus 4, so I'm up to about 12 tires. And then I also threw one on my spare of the tow vehicle as well. And everything can be seen on the screen. Now, stepping it up, the boat trailer, the ATC trade show trailer, all of these different trailers are controlled by this one screen. I only have one TPMS screen system, and then I've just added sensors, and I programmed each of those sensors in this screen to be a different trailer. So then I simply go into my vehicle ID and I change out to which trailer I'm towing, and there's no setup or configuration. So my sensors just stay on those vehicles, and I move this screen if I'm changing out vehicles, because if I go from the Class A to going and towing the ATC, the screen's gonna move with me, but it's super simple. In the Class A, I use like a little magnet like this right on my dashboard, and then I can just come over and boom, I connect right up, and this just sits flush right on the Integra, right on the dashboard, so I don't have to deal with it. Now my Integra came with factory TPMS sensors that have not been reliable since the factory, and they're one of the better ones by Spartan, but I don't know, they were saying that the transmitter repeater antennas needed to be relocated. It's just not worth the hassle. 1 or 2 tires kept disappearing, and I wasn't really 100% sure I really trusted the sensors when I knew that the TST system was battle tested. So I can move that, and then I use the included mount here, the suction mount. This goes inside my GMC truck whenever I'm towing right up to the windshield, and I can see everything. With the new upgraded 770 screen, you're not just getting a better screen that gives you a better visibility. One of the kind of main complaints of the 500 series was it wasn't great in high reflective sun. And the reason for that is because the battery life on this thing is just insanely long. The old ones, we'd get like 24 plus hours of constant driving on the batteries, not even plugged in. And they've kept very high battery life on this unit. Check the listing page for specific details. But they've improved the battery, and they've kept the screen very high contrast, or they've made the screen much better contrast because they've been able to make the battery larger inside of the unit, while also giving us that magnetic back, which I really like, and putting a larger antenna here to even further improve how the unit works. It's been very, very effective and reliable for us. Additionally, this does more than just tire pressure. It'll do your tire temperature, but in addition, I'm just looking at my list here, it also gives us some pretty interesting stuff. Like it will give me directional data, like acting as a compass. It'll also give me speed, altitude, and trip data. So it's kind of like a little mini computer now, not just giving me the TPMS information. That's pretty cool. Before we go too much further, I do want to mention our memberships. And if you're interested in saving money, having access to the latest tech and to the forums and other things that we offer, I highly recommend you check out our memberships at memberships.mobilemusthave.com. You're going to get discounts on just about everything on our store, upgrading shipping on just about everything on our store, reward points that are upgraded that equal cash back, so you get additional discounts with that for recurring members. You get access to the Mobile Resource Center with our friends Chris and Cherie and the whole team over there. You get tons and tons of different things. Some of the benefits are right there. We're constantly expanding it. So that list is probably not even the whole list. You can check it out at memberships.mobilemusthave.com. It supports us, it supports you, and it typically pays for itself within the first year, especially if you're looking at a larger setup like a water filtration system, a mobile internet setup, a power setup, or something like that. So definitely check out the memberships at membership.mobilemusthave.com. Now the old 500 series was kind of a little bit of a pain to program. It was because it wasn't a touchscreen. So you had issues with really knowing kind of how to get to the right sensor. It was pretty straightforward, but we had a lot of customers call us and ask us how that worked. So the new unit is much easier to set up, and there's less setup to do right out of the box. It has the ability to automatically set high and low pressure ranges. As long as you kind of preset your tires up before you get going, it will automatically assume, okay, well, if you're setting this up and you know your tires are good, and check them. A lot of people tell me their tires are good at trade shows, and I go look and I'm like, this tire's at 40 PSI. They're like, yeah, 40 PSI, that's what my car runs at. I'm like, this is a Class C, this is 80 PSI. They're like, really? Check that sticker and check with your manufacturer and make sure you're running at the proper tire pressure. But assuming you're at the right tire pressure, and it's not the same for every tire, there's more to it. Technically, if you're on a bigger rig, you really want to go to a weight station, get weighed, get all of your axle weights, check with your tire manufacturer, check with your manufacturer of your RV, and figure out the exact tire pressure you want on each of those wheels. It may be different for the right side than the left side if you really want to be kind of dialing in the crazy tire stuff. Hey, that's what the pros do, and that means they're going to get a lot more mileage out of their tires, and they're going to run a lot safer. So up to you, but at the very least, make sure you run at the higher limit. If you weigh in all of them, make sure you're at the right pressure for the highest weight axle at the very least. So that will then allow you to handle from there the fact that you can automatically set your high and low pressures on the screen, which is a nice touch. Additionally, they, like I said, have added the magnet mount, but they've upgraded over here from the micro USB charge port, which was really aging on the 500 series, to a USB-C. So now it's basically the exact same plug that's going to be working on your cell phones. And I frequently will not have an extra power cable, even though it's included. I just don't want the dash clutter. So what I'll do is I'll plug my phone in while I'm driving, and then I go, oh, my phone's at 100%. I just pop it out, pop it into the TST right here, and it'll charge this guy up. And then I'll just unplug it, plug it back into my phone, and it'll stay with my phone primarily. If you hop over to this device and you turn it off when your drive day is over and turn it on when you're driving, like I said, you're getting a full day's worth of driving and then some just out of the battery. So that's a nice way to not have to clutter up your dashboard. That being said, if you do power it up, it will allow you to run this with ignition sensing. So you basically turn the key, and as long as this gets power, it will power this up. So there's no switches to touch, there's nothing to do, you just turn and go. So depending on how you want to wire it up, you can do either with the setup. Let's talk briefly about kind of what's in the box. Obviously the sensors are going to be, the number of sensors and the type of sensors will be dependent on which kit you got. But for right now, I'm just going to show you what we're seeing here for a standard cap sensor kit. So you're going to get your screen, you're going to get your dash mount there, you're going to get your USB-C cable, you're going to get your cigarette lighter plug, and then you're going to get 2 wrenches here that are going to allow you to use the optional locking nuts that you can install if interested on these cap sensors. Some folks, you know, oh, it's got a lock, then my really nice expensive sensors won't get stolen. I've never had a sensor stolen. I don't know anyone who's had a sensor stolen. I think folks that steal aren't people who know really what these even are, but you can use these locks. I'd recommend you don't, because maybe they work and they might rip off your valve stem, and that's way worse than having a sensor stolen. So it's up to you, but it is available and the kit will allow you to tighten that up. Now, if you're in a high vibration environment, you're doing a lot of dirt road travel, absolutely use these locks because they could potentially keep the sensors from shaking loose. So that's another reason why they may include those in the kit. Additionally, you're going to get a number of different additional O-rings, both on the small O-ring that's for right inside there on the pressure, and then the large O-rings which are used if you take this apart to replace the user serviceable batteries. And there's plenty of videos online on how to replace these batteries, but it's worth noting that these are pressure sensitive sensors. So if you want to improve the length of your sensor life and you're not full time in it, take these off, and you can take them off in the winter, and then the batteries will go into standby mode and they're not going to burn down on you. So that's a little, you know, kind of thing worth mentioning. Additionally, in the kit, as I mentioned before, you get the repeater, you get a TST sticker, and then you get this really good quality card that is your quick start guide. And this is something that you can keep along with your warranty registration card and other paperwork inside the vehicle. It's just built well so that if it's in your booklet and you want to reference back, if you ever have to change any settings and you want to just know exactly how to do it, you're going to get all that inside of your kit. We've got videos on how to program this screen and additional information about how this operates out in the wild and out on the road. You can check that out. Just check out the listing page and go to the videos tab and we'll have more information there. If you don't see anything, you can always reach out to our team at info@MobileMustHave.com. And for more contact information, just skip ahead to the end of the video where we talk about how you can get in touch with us. Additionally, you get stickers. These stickers all have numbers on them. And I can tell you, one of the hardest things, especially if you take these off in the winter, is knowing which sensor corresponds to what tire. Or if you're doing a tire rotation, you may want to move your sensor back to the corresponding tire that you rotated to that particular area. And what I do is I just label my sensors 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, as many as I have. And then for me personally, I go inside, outside. Some people go outside, inside if I have a dual axle, but I just keep my numbering going up. And I open the vehicle's door, it's kind of like driver door side, or I just go with the driver's side front, that's 1. And then for me, I go clockwise around the vehicle. It's also worth noting that if you did want to, and you didn't want to move around your sensors, you can actually relocate your tire sensors inside the screen. That's pretty cool. I'll kind of show you a close-up of how I just swap a tire from this location to this location. So if you did a tire rotation and you didn't want to remove the sensors, or you use the internal band sensors, you're covered for that. For a complete list of specifications, hop over to the listing page and click on the documentation tab. The listing page is typically in the description below. Thanks so much for checking out the products today and for checking out MobileMustHave.com. If you have any questions at all, you can reach out to us at info@MobileMustHave.com, or you can start up a chat on our website in the bottom right-hand corner of MobileMustHave.com. But if you have some more complex questions or you just want to talk to a live expert, I highly recommend that you schedule a consultation at talk.mobilemusthave.com. There, you'll pick a mutually agreed day and time, put in some brief information about what you're looking to solve in terms of your challenge, and we will make sure to get you paired with the right expert at that mutually agreed time on the phone so that you can dial in and solve those challenges directly with an expert. You can also always call us. Our phone number's in the top right-hand corner of our website, MobileMustHave.com. Thanks so much for checking out this video, for checking us out, and we'll see you on the road.